Hello, beautiful people, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, I am bringing you my guest and my friend, Davina. So, she is a personal trainer and a nutritionist and a vegan lifestyle coach. So, if you ever wonder what veganism is all about and if it is suitable for you, well, this will be a great episode. Davina went from eating high protein meals every day, like chicken and tuna, to a vegan lifestyle overnight. And because of the results and the benefits that she has got, she thought it would be selfish not to share her passion with more people. So, what have you misunderstood about veganism? Continue watching because you are about to find out. Now, however you're watching this episode, please do screenshot it and tag us on social. We would really appreciate the love, and maybe by you sharing it, you are going to inspire somebody who really want to know about veganism. Who knows? Alright, enjoy the interview! Well, Davina, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your amazing knowledge and share your passion with so many people. But before we dig into that, I would love to know, how are you feeling today?
Oh, fabulous. I just had a really fabulous burrito, vegan burrito that we cooked up. So I'm feeling full and great.
Amazing. For those who are listening and watching, if you would like a recording of what Davina has cooked up, I will link the video in the description. Now, would you like to share with everyone what Vegan Fitness Academy is all about and how it came about?
Yeah, sure. Vegan Fitness Academy is a business that I created around 4 or so years ago. This Vegan Fitness Academy is all about educating and sharing knowledge about veganism. So I have a coaching program that I offer. I also have ebooks on how to calculate macros to achieve certain results. Um, I've got ebooks, I've got recipe ebooks, and lots of free resources. I've got a whole recipe database that you can access via their website, and a sort of like an essential beginner's guide to going vegan. That's completely free, so please jump on and download it because it's really a great tool to use, especially at the start of your vegan journey.
Again, all the information, I will be popping them down in the description. So for those who are interested to jump on this journey, please go and check it out. But that's bring everyone back to before you became a vegan. Like, how did that journey come about?
Well, I was eating a lot of tuna, chicken, very, very high protein, low carb diet. So I was in a point in my life where I was doing my very first prep in the bodybuilding industry, and I was very, very low energy, very, very low energy. I mean, whenever you're doing some kind of prep or deficit in some kind of fashion, you're always going to be low energy to some kind of degree. So I met one of my beautiful friends called Pekka, and she had just gone vegan maybe a couple of months before we met. And we trained together 6 days a week for probably around 9 months. In total. And she and I shared a lot of stories together. So through her vegan experience, she shared things that she'd cooked. I'd always see like, her food on Instagram and thinking like, my goodness, this is amazing. So I thought as soon as I finish this prep, I'm going vegan because the food is good. And the other thing was, it was not just the food, it was also her progress. So her and I both started lifting weights at the same time. And she was progressing so much faster than I was. And usually I'm quite quick to pick up anything athletic. But this time she was just progressing so much quicker. She had less recovery days. She was getting stronger much quicker than I was. And I thought, it's got to be in the food. It's in the food. So I had to go through a process of, eating a lot of, or continuing on my process, which was very, very high protein, in terms of lots of tuna and chicken, as I mentioned, and very, very low carb, because I didn't want to jeopardize anything because I had a show to do. So I basically saw the show out, and as soon as I finished with a series of 3 shows, I went vegan overnight and never looked.
Yeah. And what do you think is the most, I guess, misunderstanding about veganism? Because obviously, from what you have been saying, it's healthy for you and you can lift more weight, you feel better.
Yeah. Well, I think the misconception about veganism is, you have to miss out on certain foods, or you can't have that because you're vegan. But that to me has never been the case. I've never felt that I've been missing out on foods per se. Sometimes on social events where there's like lots of barbecuing going on, but not so much on the food itself. So it's all about finding alternatives, vegan alternatives to the foods that you love. And that's the key.
Yeah, definitely. So, how would you describe a balanced lifestyle now?
Well, I would go by the 80-20 rule. So I like to be very, very whole food, plant based 80% of the time. And then 20% of the time, I'm okay with sort of having vegan junk food and processed foods and those type of things. I think it's, we can't ever expect to be 100% perfect with anything we do. So it's nice to have a balance, which includes mostly the good stuff and a little bit of naughty foods along the way.
Yeah. When you say naughty food, do you mean by donuts?
Well, I grew up in a bakery, so donuts, I know how they're cooked and I saw that whole process. So I don't think I'd ever go through eating a donut again in my life. But
Whoa.
I'm more talking about things like Oreos. Like Oreos, for those who don't know, are vegan, and I love Oreos. So something like Oreos, I'd eat, 20% of the time, and that's my sort of, I guess, my cheat food or my go-to when I just need something a little bit outside of really, really healthy stuff.
Yeah. I just want to bring back a little bit. Just now you say people find it hard to find alternatives. So what about yourself? Like what did you have to replace in your own diet?
Many, many things I had to replace. So when I went vegan back in 2015, there were very little vegan options in the supermarkets, in the restaurants, in my own pantry. So I had to learn how to cook the foods that I loved just by just testing, trial and error. So things like spaghetti bolognese is one of my all-time favorites. I now use things like lentils to replace the mince. For example, a nutritional yeast mixed with cashews and making a sauce to replace the cheese. So I had to really just come up with a lot of those options. And that's why or where I began to create my recipe book, from the fact that I just didn't have any options. So I thought, well, if I don't have any options, then other people are going to be struggling with this too. So so that's where the book really started from.
Yeah. For those who haven't tried nutritional yeast, I honestly highly recommend them too, because I personally love it as well. Now, because just now you spoke about how you were learning about the food part of it, I personally feel like in general, most of the people they don't know much about food because we are consumers, we eat. So what would be the top 3 tips that you would give to people for them to implement today to be more aware about what they're consuming?
Well, the first thing with anything that we're trying to learn is to educate yourself. Knowledge is power. And there are people who will, try and give advice without actually knowing, what it is that they're talking about sometimes. So I think learn the information yourself through the means that you have and the resources that you have. So whether that be vegan coaches or through the internet, there's a lot of information on the internet these days. Once you do learn the information, then share it. share it with the others. After all, that's what we're here for, to learn and then to share. And the other thing is to, I guess, reuse, recycle. So, peanut butter jars, I collect those glass jars and I'll make chili mix out of, some soya, and I'd use those jars to store the mix in. So I think that's important, rather than to just chuck them in the bin or the recycling bin, is to utilize those with some home cooking.
I love that point because it's not only helpful for your home, because your recycling and reusing is also better for our environment. So that
Oh,
point was amazing. And for those people who don't know you yet, who haven't gone onto your website, they wouldn't know that you are very passionate about mindset as well. Would you like to share with people what mindset is really about, actually?
yeah. Well, I think whenever we adopt or start on a new journey, it always starts with the mind. So once we start to see and develop the picture in our mind, then things naturally just come from that. So that's then when we can engage coaches, trainers, teachers, etc., to fill in the gaps. But I really believe that a positive attitude and visualization is really the starting point to bring new positive things and, dare I say, unfortunately, negative things into our mind. So it's very important to be mindful of the thoughts that we have in our minds, and we're always going to get negative thoughts, but it's about sort of deflecting those and allowing the positive ones to flow.
Yeah, I agree. But what would you like to share what has happened in your life to make you realize that you need to have a positive mindset?
Well, many things, and many times. I don't think that I could really scale that down to one experience. There's really been quite a few, I suppose, that have really embedded that in my mind, and I think it's just always going to be the case, because I don't think we will ever reach a point where we're just 100% right, positive, and everything's just going to flow, because I don't think that ever happens. But I think it's just always the case of whenever something negative comes into the mind, to just push it aside and allow the positive to come straight back, and over
Yeah,
and over again. It's practice.
yeah. Did something major happen in your life that make you have this self, I guess, realization?
I guess it's just coming second in certain bodybuilding events has had a little bit of an impact in me, which I've never come first. So it's always I've come second or I've come 10th when I was in Vegas. But that does have a little bit of an impact, and builds a little bit of a fire inside that says, well, yeah, second's great, but I really want to go for number one in every area and every opportunity in life. So no
Yeah,
sort of really specific event that occurred, but a series of events that just
yeah,
strengthened and embedded that in my soul.
yeah. I love it. Well, is there any tips that you would give to everyone now to maybe have more self-awareness?
Well, first of all, I believe it's really important to do things that you love. So, whatever it is that you love to do, to make the time to do more of that. Um, I think that's probably the most important thing, because when you're doing things you love, you're at your happiest. And that right there is the key to life, right? Like the point is joy. Like the goal is to be joyous, to be happiest. So once you do figure out what you do love, to do that more often. And if you don't know what you love to do, then try things. So go take up a yoga class, or take up a dancing class, or Pilates, or martial arts, whatever it may be, and just test and trial and see what you love, and continue what you love, ditch what you don't love, and use that as the platform.
I feel like it's easier said than done. So, for those who are listening and watching, if you're struggling, I would highly recommend you to find an accountable buddy. Or, as you know, Davina has mentioned, you can find, mindset coaches and people out there who are willing to help you, and they have these services that you can try and see where that journey will take you.
Yeah, and that's the key though. It is a journey. It is absolutely much easier said than done because it is a journey, and sometimes it may take, many tries to get to, the thing or the things that you love and enjoy. So it's just a matter of just really trial and error, and just to have that tenacity to keep going when things
Yeah.
are not working.
Totally. So speaking of trying new things, what is the latest thing that you yourself have tried?
Well, most recently, I studied Kundalini yoga. So that was back in
Mhm.
2000. Well, this year we're still in 2020. So my mind's already in 2021. It's been such a shitty year. So I did study Kundalini yoga, which was just an amazing transformational journey for me. So that I studied back in August this year. So since then, I now practice yoga every single day. So prior to that, I've been on a yoga journey for about 15 years, I suppose. And I'd start and then I'd stop and then I'd go back to it. But I really found something now that I love. I just love, and every
Yeah.
morning it's my go-to, and then some
Oh,
afternoons. But I just love it, and right now I'm 37 years old, and it's we can, and I found things that I love, but it's like it's a journey, as you said earlier. So no matter where we get to in that journey, we're always on the journey, and
yes.
it's not like we ever sort of get to a point where that's it, we've reached it, and yeah, I'm set, life's good. Sometimes it gets close to, but we're still always learning, adapting, growing, and finding new things that we enjoy. So for me, that was yoga, and it's just been a beautiful journey.
Yeah, I love it. And thank you for revealing your age because honestly, it's a great inspiration. You never stop learning. And just because you are at whatever age, you can take on a new course and learn new things. So thank you so much for sharing that. And speaking of journeys, if today was your last day on Earth, how would you like to spend it?
Well, I thought this was a really interesting question, and it's very confrontational because you never sort of come to a point where you think, right, this is what I'll do. But I think what I would do is I've got a lot of family and friends who are remote from where I live right now in the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. So I would fly them all up to me, and I would I would arrange a skydiving event for anybody who wanted to come along. Everybody jumps out of a plane. And then we gather together. So we land on the beach and we gather together on the beach and have a massive vegan barbecue, swim, beach games. I think that'd be exactly the way that I'd want to end my last day.
It's so adventurous.
Yeah.
Love it. The reason why I personally love this question is, like you said, it's very confronting. But I guess at the same time, it also gives people a moment to think about whether if whatever they're doing today is what they love.
Yeah.
Because before people, they, I guess, say goodbye, they will reflect on being like, okay, so for the past however many years, what have I wasted on? That's why I think it's a very interesting question.
I think it's a beautiful question because not only has it made me think about what I would do, but I put that question to a few other people, and then they had a chance to think, well, what would I do? So it
Exactly.
has a ball effect.
Yeah, thank you. Well, before I say goodbye to you, I would love to know if there's anything that you feel like we didn't touch on or you would like to talk about in particular.
One thing I did want to share is just one, I guess, a lesson that I've learned in my lifetime to date. And it is that I now have learned that you can learn anything that you want to learn. So I've done a lot of studies over the years. Let's not include high school here because I found that very boring. But first high school when I got a say in what I wanted to learn. I do know that everything is learnable. So the key is to find or to work out what you want to learn, to determine what you want to learn, to find somebody who's either done that before or who teaches that, and learn from them. Find that teacher, find that coach, and let them share their knowledge with you. And then believe in yourself and become your number one fan. Don't listen to the haters and the naysayers, and just do the thing that you want to do and work your ass off.
Yeah. I like the last one because you know what? Like in general, people are like they want to live a certain lifestyle. They always see the beautiful side of it, the glamorous side where people are like drinking their wine and relaxing. But what they don't see is the hard work that is behind it. You really need to be persistent. Like, oh, you would know because you were a bodybuilder.
Yeah, lots of dedication. When you don't feel like doing it, you still have to do the thing to get the result that you're after. So absolutely, absolutely.
100%. So yeah, that was very, very motivational. Thank you so much. And you know, you just share one of your greatest lessons, but would love to ask, this is my last question. What is the greatest lesson that you have learned from anyone in your life?
Well, I got to say that's got to be Pekka with sharing and showing me
Oh,
the way through to veganism, because she really opened up my eyes to a brand new path, and that that chapter set me on a whole new path. So
yeah.
that's got to be the greatest lesson. Is just she showed me a way of living that was really cruelty free,
Yeah.
and has so many benefits for myself, for my body, for the environment. The list is endless. Um, so so really, Chipeka, she's been the greatest. Has handed me the greatest lesson that I've
Yeah.
learned from a person.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for your time today. Thank you, Pekka, for, inspiring you to open up Vegan Fitness Academy and now sharing your passion with more people so they can find their own journey too. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Ting. It's been lovely chatting with you.
Did you enjoy this episode? What have you learned? And have you tried Nutritionist? I personally love it. And what I also love is how Davina said that you need to continue to try new things. Because let's be honest, if you have never given anything a try, how would you know if that certain thing suits you, right? Let it be trying new food or maybe trying a different route when you go to work or come back home. Don't forget to continue to explore and see what you enjoy and what makes you happy. If you do decide to try something new like veganism, or you would like to further understand what that lifestyle is like, well, Davina's details are all in the description. Alright, don't forget to subscribe, click the thumbs up button if you have loved it, and share it with someone because you never know what they're going through or what they might like to try. And remember, you are amazing and you are not alone. I will see you next time.